right, Giuliani. Boy, how far this freak has fallen, huh? Not that he ever was America's mayor. It's just that in the horror that was September 11th, 2001, Rudy emerged. He wasn't a hero. He was a functionary who had to deal with the terrible situation, but I digress. Let me put it this way. The legal pressures on the Orange Vomit and his coterie of the inner circle of these crazy fuckers, the ones that are really crazy, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, Michael Flynn, the real crazies, and everybody else who is involved with this guy. Well, the legal pressure on all these people intensified yesterday, Monday, because prosecutors here in Georgia, in Atlanta, informed Rudy the Bat that Rudy was a target, not a witness, but a target in this criminal investigation into election interference in Georgia. Oh, well, isn't that a surprise? I'm sure that the Orange Vomit and the Bat and that crazy bitch Sidney and the traitor to the uniform, Michael Flynn, I'm sure they all thought, well, fuck Georgia. I mean, what did we made our play in Georgia? Oh, and Graham Cracker, too, senator from South Carolina, Lindsey. All of these people, I'm sure they just thought, well, you know, there's a bunch of goddamn hicks in Atlanta. Besides, I don't know if you noticed, but they're black. So, you know, they're not going to do anything to us powerful white people because they're black. You know, they're black people. Right? Come on. You know, goddamn good and well that attitude was there. Of course it was. Well, guess what? Surprise, surprise. Oh, God. The special grand jury has had just about enough of these crazy son of a bitches. And they're going to do something. They are going to do something. Fannie Willis, who is the prosecuting attorney, the district attorney in Fulton County, which is Atlanta, has made it clear from the very beginning of this, which started when? 2 years ago, that she was not fucking around. Now, that's my word, not hers. But she's made that clear. Look, you guys, you white boys came down here and you violated the fuck out of our laws. I mean, you violated our laws. And the prima facie evidence is what Rudy did in the Georgia General Assembly when he goes and addresses the Georgia Congress and says, well, here's how you can cheat, lie, and steal. Here's how you do it. You little conspiratorial prick, you actually did that, Rudy. And then, of course, the Orange Vomit calling up the Secretary of State and pressuring him for an hour about finding votes necessary to overturn the election for Joe Biden here in the state of Georgia. So there's, I mean, to me, and again, because I am not, I'm not the patient type. You know, when somebody throws a rock through my window, say, I don't need to hire investigators to find out if a rock came through my window. I can look at the goddamn thing and say, oh, a rock came through my window. And if I see somebody running away like a bat out of hell, I'm going to make a conclusion. That person did it. But that's my simplistic way of living. The law moves much more slowly, and that's what's been going on. So anyway, the notification to Rudy the Bat came on the same day that a federal judge rejected efforts by this slimy little fuck from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham Cracker. Boy, isn't he? I mean, he's the type of person my grandmother would have taken a limb off the pussy willow bush behind her house. A thick one, too, about the thickness of your little finger at the base. My grandmother would have cut that branch off and taken Lindsey Graham across her lap, pulled his goddamn britches down, and just blistered his ass for what he's done. I mean, Grandma would not hold back. And while she blistered his ass, she would be quoting Bible verses to him. But my grandmother has been dead for 55 years now, so, I mean, that's not going to happen. But Lindsey Graham was notified, ta-da, that his effort to duck and cover and get away from all this was not going to work. He was trying to avoid giving testimony before the special grand jury that's hearing evidence in this case here in Atlanta. Now, one of Giuliani's toy lawyers, back to Giuliani, this guy's name is Robert Costello. He said in an interview that he was notified on Monday, that was just yesterday, that his client is a target. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that a person will be indicted. It usually means that prosecutors believe an indictment is possible based on evidence they've seen up to that point. Well, we all have seen the evidence. I mean, especially here in Atlanta, we know what Rudy the Bat did. We know what this son of a bitch did with the governor, with the General Assembly, with so-called Republican Party, read fascist or Christian terrorist party members here trying to overturn Biden's win in Georgia. We know what he did. And so does the grand jury. Evidence they've seen up to this point that's been presented to the grand jury has led the prosecutors, in fairness to this ugly son of a bitch, to say to Giuliani, yo, you are a target. Prepare your ass because we're coming for you. Which is what this means. I mean, if you're notified that you're a target, what the hell else could it mean? That they just want to have a chat with you? No, I don't think so. So you remember it was Rudy the Bat when he was Trump's personal lawyer, and that's going to factor into this, of course, because he'll say, attorney-client privilege, attorney-client privilege. But when he was Trump's personal gopher boy, personal lawyer, he was the one who spearheaded efforts to keep Trump in power. And he has emerged in recent weeks as just about the central figure, the main figure in this inquiry being conducted by Fani Willis, who is the DA of Fulton County, Georgia. According to the New York Times, let me quote this. Earlier this summer, prosecutors questioned witnesses before the grand jury about Mr. Giuliani's appearances before state legislative panels in December 2020, when he spent hours peddling false conspiracy theories, I would call that bullshit lies, about secret suitcases of Democratic ballots and corrupted voting machines. Oh, Rudy, you little fucker. I mean, seriously. And let me tell you something, Rudy, in federal prison, I don't think, well, maybe they do have hair dye. I don't know. I'm sure you'll find somebody in the slammer with you, Rudy, who would be very happy to dye your hair for you while you're in there. Maybe even the hair on your head, too. Who knows? But Rudy the Bat, for him, this notification that he's a target, this is the latest in this just unbelievable envelope of trouble that he finds himself in because he sucked up to and sucked on to Donald Trump. Although he did get some good news recently. According to the Times, it emerged that he was unlikely to face charges in a federal criminal inquiry into his ties to Ukraine during the 2020 presidential campaign. See, Rudy was part of that denial to the government of Zelensky in Ukraine. Giuliani was part of the denial, providing them with military equipment and funding that had already been committed by the Congress of the United States. And Giuliani assisted the Orange Vomit in stopping that. And look what happened to Ukraine. But anyway, Rudy recently found out Okay, it appears that probably he's unlikely to face charges in that inquiry. Notice all the qualifiers. Could still happen. Now, Giuliani is supposed to appear before this grand jury in Atlanta tomorrow. His lawyer, this guy, Abbott and Costello, Robert Costello, Robert said in the interview that Giuliani would probably invoke attorney-client privilege, of course, if asked questions about his dealing with the orange vomit. And Abbott and Costello had to say this. This is what he said, according to the New York Times, quote, if these people, that would be the prosecution team here in Atlanta, the black people, if these people think he's going to talk about conversations between him and President Trump, they are delusional, end quote. That's from Giuliani's attorney, Abbott and Costello. Okay, Mr. Costello, we shall see. But I would think at this point that the questions directed to Rudy the Bat are going to be focused on the behavior and conversations and efforts by Rudy the Bat to fuck up the election here the results of the election here in Georgia. I would just make a guess that that's what the focus of the questions from the district attorney are going to be. Now, over to Lindsey Graham Cracker. The rejection of his effort to avoid testifying came in a written order from a federal district court judge here in Atlanta. Boy, well, you folks are just not having a good time here in Atlanta, in Fulton County, are you? Huh? And Lindsey Graham Cracker is now set to testify before the grand jury here in, I guess, about a week, the 23rd. Is that about a week? Yeah, about a week from now. And the judge in this case, the federal district court judge, and it's my understanding, of course, that Lindsey immediately filed an appeal. Of course he did. What the fuck? But the judge found that prosecutors had shown that there was, quote, a special need for Mr. Graham's testimony on issues relating to alleged attempts to influence or disrupt the lawful administration of Georgia's 2022 elections, end quote. See, one thing these people, and by these people, I mean these white demons. I know I'm white too. I'm not a demon though. But these white demons, like Lindsey Graham Cracker and Rudy the Bat and the Orange Vomit and this whole cadre of fucking freaks, they don't understand that law enforcement, i.e. district attorney, or the judiciary here in Georgia, here in Atlanta, that these are highly trained, extremely qualified to do their job. They're not fucking suck-ups to some Nazi bitch like Donald Trump. The people here, the court, the prosecutors, not only are they highly qualified, but they're going to nail these gone son of a bitches for real. They're going to do it. The judge in this case, Lee Martin May, and the prosecutor, Franny Willis, the lead prosecutor, there are a bunch of them. They are going to nail these fuckers to the outhouse wall. They really, truly are. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.